Ken and Scott here in the war room. Today we're working on a Remington 870.
Today we're going to be installing a Nordic components extension tube. This is going to add 5 rounds to our original magazine that held 4. 1 in the chamber gives us 10 rounds. In order to do this install, we're going to show you how to break it down, and there's 2 machine dimples that are in this lower magazine. We need to remove those. Nobody else is showing any information, not even in the instructions, how to remove them.
They all tell you that it needs to be done, but nobody actually tells you how to do it.
So we're going to walk you through taking those dimples out.
We are going to have to do some grinding, so we recommend removing the trigger group and the bolt, and we'll show you how to do that.
Let's go do that. Parts that came with the Nordic extension are the extension and the spring. The extension is constructed of 3 pieces. You've got your barrel nut, what used to be the barrel nut's the new extension tube threaded component. I don't know what they're going to call it, but it's barrel nut. And then the other end comes off. The reason for that is to offset this recessed area in case you want to do the barrel clamp to your magazine up in the forward area. So you can offset about 1 inch, it looks like. Okay, we're going to drop down the 870. Remove your barrel nut. You have a spring retainer, which is a twist,
quarter turn,
push, and quarter turn. Get your spring out. Your follower should drop out. That also has to come past the detents. Pull back. Charge. Pull back. Remove the barrel. Next, we get our stock off. In order to get your foregrip and your bolt out, you have to press down on the spring tab. That actually locks it all in place. Slide it forward. Here's your bolt. There's your tube. Now on the 870, the trigger group actually drops out pretty easy. It's not too dissimilar from a lot of other, where it's just a 2-pin setup. Forward pin seems to be a little stiffer than the rear, but basically drive those pins out, pull, a little help, and there's your trigger group. One little trick that I find makes it a lot easier is to be able to see what you're doing. So I take my Streamlight, set it up in the barrel, take a rag, fold it up just right so that it'll stay in the barrel, and then it'll shine right down your barrel and show you where you got to work. There are 2 tabs. There are impressions that are pressed into the barrel right here and 180 degrees from it. Those are the ones that we have to grind out. Now, in order to get these dimples out of the barrel, I'm going to use either the grinding stones for my Dremel, a sanding drum, or a carbide burr. I'm going to start with the carbide burr, and then I'm going to go to the grinding stone, and then eventually I'm going to finish up with the sanding drum. In reverse order of what I told you. However, the carbide burr, you better have some experience at using them before you go digging into something with it, because it removes a lot of material fast. So it takes a slow, steady hand to get that into there. Now when doing that Dremel, you want to make sure that you're taking baby steps. You're going to just take little pass, little pass, little pass, but stay away from hitting either side of your high spot. You're going to wait until you get it just before it starts to hit there, and that's when we're going to move to the stone. And then that'll help us keep that same radius, and actually the sanding drum will finish it off. So that middle point is, the dimple is going to be high the whole time, but you're just coming in little step, little step, little step, without falling off the height of it. This is about the point where I'm going to move to a grinding stone, because I've gotten it to the point where I'm not quite hitting either side, but yet I'm still a little high right in that middle point right here. This is still high, but I haven't really gouged any of this. You can see I still come to a stop, so I'm still high, but it's still got to come out. Once you've got that pretty well smoothed out with the grinding stone, then you're going to want to go to the sanding drum. Okay, once you're done with the sanding drum, you can go back in there and work it a little bit with some 400 grit and smooth it out as best you can. But you can tell that the ridge is completely gone. And then basically all you have to do is all the same stuff on the other side. So once we've got that all taken care of, we can go back and put our trigger group back in. It's a lot easier if your hammer is cocked back, tip into one side, drop in, line up your holes, start the pin, give it a slight tap. Now it's time to reinstall the foregrip and your bolt. It's pretty much the same as the way we took it apart, except it can be a pain in the ass. Come in, with your door down, reach in and get to the discharge side first, and then hit the other one, and pull it back. At this point, we want to just come out a little bit, about halfway. We can reinstall our barrel. Bring it up. Now instead of the old barrel nut, we are going to actually thread on our new tube. And before we go any further, I'm just going to make sure that we have everything correct here. So, fire, cock, fire, hold it, comes off the disconnector, and fires. Once the tube is installed, we can remove the end cap. It's a really fine thread. Really fine thread.
Hey, is that thread fine?
Eventually it'll come off. Seriously. Now, we've opted for their CNC'd follower. Just because it's so much better than this little plastic piece.
Those get gummed up with all the carbon.
So we can drop that in. And now for the fun part. The spring, the original spring, is, oh, I don't know,
1.5 feet?
a lot shorter than our new spring. So this will be the fun part. Working this bad boy all the way in. And try not to have it fly out.
And not strip your thread.
And we're tightening. They're mighty fine threads. There we are. We are in. And that's installed. Let's put the rounds in. I really like the way it looks.
Let's test this bad boy out.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 rounds.
Awesome.
Chamber, you got 10.
Well, you know what I think we need to do now? I think we got to mag pull it.
Yeah, I do too.
Stay
This
tuned.
thing would really look good with some mag pull on it. Happy shooting.